Wherever wolves live, humans make up myths about them. Wolves lurk in shadows, creep along edges, eyes glowing in the darkness. They become our mascots, our patronuses, our protectors. And sometimes they become our devourers. We admire them, we fear them, we killed them. Now, in North Carolina, we're trying to bring our wolves back. I'm Eleanor Spicer Rice, and this is North Carolina. Naturally.
Yeah, this would be about the size of a collar you would use on a red wolf. You could go a little bigger, but you wouldn't necessarily have to.
Roland Case heads the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences Biodiversity Lab, and he hosts YouTube's Wild Animals channel.
For this episode of Wild Animals, we're going to be hunting apex predators by bringing our camera traps into a special place.
We should probably mention that he literally wrote the book on North American mammals.
He uses camera traps to spy on red wolves and other creatures.
Look at that guy.
He's kind of the white grizzled face. I recognize this. This is one that we've seen around a bunch.
So if I'm a person out and I see this and I think it's a coyote, can you tell me what I'm looking for to see if it's a wolf?
Yeah, so the wolves they're just bigger. They tend to be a little bit like look at this guy with the longer legs.
Red wolves look like tall coyotes. They have fluffy faces and long, pointy ears, and they weigh about 45 to 85 pounds, about like a gangly German shepherd with different fur. They loped freely across the northeastern to southeastern United States when settlers first set foot on North American soil. The settlers decided red wolves were adversaries. They ate livestock, after all. They lurked and crept in the shadows.
We drove them out of almost the entire part of the East Coast, down to, in the 70s, there were red wolves only in Louisiana and Texas, only a little bit on the border.
To prevent total extinction, scientists captured and bred them.
So can you explain to us why it's dangerous in some ways to remove a predator from a system like that?
Yeah, so you think about the kinds of animals that become too abundant in the East Coast when you lose that top predator. And two of the biggest ones are going to be deer and raccoons, right? Those are two species that coyotes don't really do a very good job at hunting, right? They can kill them, but they don't do it very often, and they don't do it very effectively, and they don't seem to really have a big impact on the deer population or on the raccoon population. But wolves are another story. Like, a lot of what we learn isn't literally from the pictures, but it's from the data that's kind of underneath the picture. So for example, we might see that deer walk by, and then after a wolf walks by, the deer avoid the place. Oh, wow. So it's actually the absence of deer that would give us the information about how animals are attracted to or avoiding each other. We have problems of overpopulations of deer because of tick-borne diseases, because of roadkill, and because they eat a lot of sensitive plants when they're too abundant. And so having some limit on their population is important. And then raccoons, you mentioned rabies, that raccoons can spread if there's too many raccoons around. And so wolves are one of the most likely ways to kind of limit those populations in the East Coast.
In 1987, the federal government chose North Carolina's own edges, our Albemarle Peninsula, to return the wolves to the wild. As of 2024, between 15 and 19 red wolves remain in the wild.
So you can get a lot because wolves are really shy. And so it's hard to find a wolf in the wild, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
You can use your camera traps to get information about wolves that we wouldn't have otherwise been able to find.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really hard to go out and just see a wolf.
Yes.
Unless you're in Yellowstone, but that's kind of a special case.
A red wolf.
A red wolf, yeah, super impossible.
Yeah.
I've been to Alligator River a lot of times, and I only saw a wolf once.
But we got really lucky.
We're at the Poquoson Lakes National Wildlife Refuge, where we have found a thrilling surprise, one of the very few red wolves left in the wild. Can you see him?
This is one of the most thrilling moments I've ever had in the outdoors in my life. I didn't expect to see a red wolf. I couldn't even have given myself to hope that a red wolf would have been out here. And it's here. And there's only a few of them left in the wild. I mean, the odds are so small that we would see one. And here it is. It's bigger than I thought and more playful. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. North Carolina is the only place that you can find a red wolf in the wild, if you're lucky. Seeing one takes your breath away. It fills you up with excitement and wonder and joy, but it also is a reminder of how close we are to these wild things and how much they need us to stay wild and to thrive.
I mean, so red wolves are special because they were one of the first times that humans said we should stop killing this predator and try to save it, right? For all our history, we tried to exterminate the lions and the wolves and the coyotes and all the other predators. And suddenly in the 70s, we passed the Endangered Species Act and we realized these wolves were almost extinct and maybe we shouldn't drive them to extinction. So they were one of the first species where, as a society, we said we value these predators and we want to try to bring them back.
Since before recorded time, we've invented stories about wolves. Now we have this new story. How will it end? We get to decide.
This video is sponsored by the Southern Environmental Law Center.
To see more videos like this, subscribe to the Our State YouTube channel.